All right, staying with the North Division, but kind of pivoting over to the NFC side. I don't know how many people saw this coming, but best division in football, you think, Alan?
How can it not be? Just look at the teams there. I knew going to season 3 teams that were going to compete. You look at just what was going on in Green Bay. You knew they had to be better. Just getting rid of Mike McCarthy itself, definite upgrade, and spending all that money on the defense. You knew the Vikings were going to be somewhat back, given that they were kind of beat up last year, and you expect with DeFilippo getting fired, you think just getting the identity back offensively. And Chicago, there's too much talent on that defense for them not to be competitive. Detroit was the one team I think everyone kind of writ off. And
I did.
Yeah.
I said 6-10. Kind of just, it was the team I was the least prepared for on my notes. I don't know, just until proven otherwise, kind of just like written them off. Mm-hmm. And I can't lie, 2 very impressive wins against both the Chargers and the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. They're just scrappy.
Even if they looked ugly,
yeah,
right? And I know they had a block. There was a blocked field goal in one. There was an Austin Eckler fumble inside the 5. There was a
crazy kickoff return.
Yeah, a typical Phillip Rivers interception that kind of just like you have
chuck
all
it to
this
double
momentum
coverage.
and it's like, what the hell, Phillip? God damn it! You had the nuns in the crowd too that you were going and saluting. And you still threw that pass. So, and you have to be. All these teams are above 500, and the one loss that the Vikings have is in division to the Packers, who are undefeated.
So the Bears.
And the Bears.
Yeah.
The Bears, too. Yeah, that's right, the opener. So tell me more. How do you feel about this division, man? Like, how about this one? How do you rank the quarterbacks?
Oh, this is easy. I would go Rodgers, Stafford, Cousins, Trubisky. Stafford, Cousins going to year was a little competitive. I think Stafford's actually playing really well this year. I know there was a lot of criticism last year because they got all conservative, and there's still questions about Bevel. I know a lot of people don't like Bevel for obvious reasons, but like that Eagles game, Stafford was dealing. Him and Marvin Jones were connecting a lot, and it was just crazy. And Amendola's been quietly a good pickup. I know he gets injured, but Amendola's a threat. Like,
yo, that offense is kind of sneaky. I love Kerryon Johnson
here,
too.
Man. Same here.
Hawkinson is going to be. I was telling Danny, I watched football with our friend Danny, and I was like, dude, Hawkinson. If you look at his measurables in the combine, they're up there with like the Evan Ingrams and the I don't know how well like Travis Kelce and Kittle, but he's like a top 3 guy all time at the tight end. Like
he went top 10 for a reason.
Yeah, he's a freak. He's a freak of nature.
Yeah,
and he's gonna have those blow up games like he had week 1. I know it's the Cardinals, and now the Cardinals are like Will Dissly is a big streaming option in your fantasy leagues this week, especially with another.
Greg Olsen looked 25 years old against them.
Greg Olsen, man, what a play that was in daily fantasy. But he's gonna have that. Marvin Jones, solid number 2 option. I love Kenny Galladay. There's a lot of and even Amendola, that guy in the slot too, for as long as he could be
healthy. That was
healthy.
a savvy pickup. I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
So, and they spent a lot of money. Kind of the funny thing was that they're trying to do what the Patriots did with bringing in Flowers and some of the other guys, but it's hard to run against them. Snacks is over there too.
Mike Daniels was a low-key really good pickup. So they're building guys. I think the whole skepticism about Detroit is just Matt Patricia's not very liked. There were reports of him not showing up to meetings last year, or at least being late to meetings. And then just a lot of veterans, guys like Darius Slay, were getting tired of it. Like he's like a big ultra disciplinarian, and I just don't think that really flies into his coaching world. Like it doesn't work unless you're Belichick. I know he comes from the Belichick coaching tree, but it's hard to take a guy like Matt Patricia overly seriously given his look. And just look, the last time we saw him as defensive coordinator, he was getting torched by Nick Foles, so it didn't necessarily look good.
So that was the most slept on thing about Matt Patricia. Like he was giving up. They were like the ultimate bend but don't break defense.
Right.
They were giving up 400 or 500 yard games to average quarterbacks.
That Alex Smith game.
Yeah, and then it just so happened that they were really stingy inside the red zone, and I don't know if that had a lot to do with Belichick also. I would say it did. But yeah, Patricia, I think he's ultimately going to be the demise for them at some point. Right. I think this is one of those, there's always a team that comes out like 5-1, 6-2, and then like goes 7-9. Or, Carolina last year too. Granted, Cam got hurt and got banged up a little bit, but Carolina up until that game, that Thursday night game where they got absolutely blitzed by the Steelers, they were a team that was in the division
Cam
talks.
was getting MVP hype.
Yeah, he was playing really well, and then so there's always a team that falls out. I would probably say them.
Yeah, because they haven't played in divisional games yet. I know the wins over the Chargers and Eagles are very impressive. Those are two teams obviously made the playoffs. They were Super Bowl sleepers going into the year, so you're not taking anything away, but there were close games. There's a couple plays here and there they could have lost it. So that's why I'm still not sure about Detroit. And Stafford, yeah, he has those games where 3 or 4 times a year he looks like a top 5 QB, but then the rest of the year it's just kind of middling play. You'll see some boneheaded interceptions, and they have a lot of talent. It's just I'm not sure if they could use it properly. And I don't think that secondary is all that great. I could see them getting exploited quite a bit. So, but I have to give them kudos because I thought Detroit could have been like a bottom 5 team in the entire league this year. So, not bad.
I'm a little upset Tim isn't on here to defend himself, but I think the Mitchell Trubisky hype train that I don't know. I kind of want to give him credit for starting, and even the talking up of that Bears offense. And you talked about Matt Patricia being a disciplinarian. There was a video that people are angry about where Matt Nagy told Trubisky to shut the fuck up. Oh, yeah. And people are outraged because
he looks like a bit of a hothead.
Yeah, but like, God forbid a coach trying to discipline you, right? Like I had my high school football coach on here a couple of months ago, and we were just talking about like the state of 2019 coaching, where like back in the day, my coach, Coach Brosnan, he used to make fun of me for being Greek. Anytime I'd make a dumb decision, he's like, "Oh, you stupid Greek!" Like, but like I never ran to my mom to tell her that. Like, no, I needed that. I needed that tough loving, and he did it in for my best interest. Like it was, he's my coach. He's supposed to put me in the right position to win and to succeed. And some tough love isn't bad. Yeah, it's needed. So I think with Mitchell Trubisky, though, getting back to that, man, he looks clueless to me when I watch him.
Can't throw to his left. That's the whole big thing.
Can't throw to his left.
Throws into double coverage a lot.
He makes 4 or 5 bad decisions. Yeah. He reminds me of Eli Manning in the sense of Eli
gamble.
Manning, even at his peak, 2007 to 2013, I think was the prime Eli years. I know he won the 2 Super Bowls there, but that's where he was at his absolute apex. With that being said, even then, Eli Manning, 3-4 times a game, you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Right?
What are you reading?
Trubisky has like 5 to 8 of those. And also, look at the outside of the throw that he made to Taylor Gabriel, which was also like 5 seconds of coverage, which at that point it's like, yo, you can only cover for someone for so long, and Josh Norman is kind of toast now. A lot of just like dumping it off and let the wide receivers be skill players.
Matt Nagy's one of the better play callers in the league. I think that's why, just based on his credentials, and look, Chicago went 11-5 last year. That's why I think he's not going to get much criticism for talking like that. So I don't think it just, whether it's tough love or just, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I just think with Trubisky, I don't know. He just, like, everything with him is just so, he just has to react. Like after his first read, he doesn't know what to do. First read's not there, he panics. Like him and Allen Robinson, to me, they got to build some kind of rapport. It shouldn't be hard to build a rapport, Allen Robinson. The way he can make any catch. Like Allen Robinson in traffic, wherever you throw it up to him, he's going to go get it. Like, I don't understand how these two haven't gone the same page yet.
Well, I think I was, when we were watching that Thursday night football game, the opener, Allen Robinson could have had 280 yards in that game if he was just Alex Smith. Right. Like, if he had Alex Smith as a quarterback, he would have broke, like, single-game records because it was unbelievable what he was doing to that Packers secondary, which in hindsight now looks even better and more impressive for Allen Robinson for how great that Packers defense and secondary has been. And look, they're going to get tested on Thursday night. One of the reasons why we are recording earlier is because I told Alan, like, hey, man, I really want to watch this Thursday night football game. As someone who was very high on both of these teams, I had the Eagles as my number 1 seed. I had the Packers winning the wild card. I had them as a playoff team. But also, I love those 2 quarterbacks. It's just a game I really want to sit back and watch. Packers defense is going to get tested against Philly offensively. It's the best quarterback that I think the Packers have played.
Has to be.
Trubisky,
Flacco,
and who they play with? Kirk Cousins. Oh boy.
Speak of the Vikings,
man, Kirk Cousins. Over under how many games he's gonna throw more than 30 times this year? Because if they could have him throw 18 times a game, they will. And Dalvin Cook is playing at an unbelievable level, which I'm very happy for because I was very high on him coming into the draft.
I got to see schedule because I feel like teams. I think they still have to play the Broncos. Like if they play bad teams, all they're gonna do is just force 3 turnovers. Give Cook the ball 15 times. Massa will come in for a bit. Cook will run a couple of bootlegs, maybe hit Thielen for a deep ball, and that's it. Like, I feel bad for people that drafted Stephon Diggs because I think Stephon Diggs, talent-wise, is a top 10 receiver. Like I think he's phenomenal. I would actually say he's better than Thielen just from a skill set standpoint, but He might get like 40 catches this year at this rate.
And he got paid too. Was it this offseason or last offseason?
I think last offseason.
And every single year his numbers have improved like almost, I think it's like I forgot what the number was, but every year they've improved by like 150 yards or something along those lines. And it's not going to happen because I think Minnesota's going to be a competitive team. He'd be a guy that I would like to see get traded.
Talking about Diggs?
Yeah. Diggs going to a team that would throw a lot. I can't think of a team off the top, but I think he would be a guy who, again, talking about being rejuvenated. Now it kind of seems like it's Thielen or Cook. Mm-hmm. Thielen got an end around inside the 5-yard line.
You see that a lot now. Those inside.
I was sick because I had Cook on all my lineups on daily fantasy, and I was just like, oh my god, we're just running with Cook, man. But hey, look, they scored.
Look, they're winning, they're dominating, and I think Diggs, look, he's a hero. Like he shouldn't have to buy anything ever again in Minnesota.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he doesn't.
He doesn't. So, but I just think the issue with Minnesota right now is just I think we want to see more of them, but I think it just ultimately comes down to Kirk and that O-line because the defense is going to bring it. That pass rush, I think Griffin and Hunter are arguably the most productive edge rushing duo in the league.
Boss actually picked Danielle Hunter to lead the league in sacks this year.
It's a good choice. Him and Myles Garrett, I think those are the two you want to go after because, dude, Hunter, I think, is still 24, and it feels like he's been in the league for 6 years. It's just unbelievable. And I think also with Minnesota, you just know Zimmer's going to dial up those double-A gap blitzes. No team runs it better than Minnesota, and you have athletic freaks and Barr and Kendricks. It's great. And Harrison Smith's as reliable as it gets. And if Rhodes, I think the big thing is Xavier Rhodes has to stay healthy because those cornerbacks, it could get very iffy with Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander. But if Rhodes stays healthy, I think just you got to look at the O-line, which is still a huge question mark. I really don't like too many guys on their O-line. Badbury, the first-round pick, struggled so far. But it's just Kirk in big games. Is he going to deliver? Like, will he not turn the ball over? Because you see in these big games, there's 2 or 3 decisions Kirk makes. It's just deflating, especially in the red zone. Like I said last week, he's bottom 5 in like every major statistical red zone category. So Minnesota, we saw last year, they should have been a real contender, and they kind of faltered. So I don't know. They should be. I think they're going to still make the wild card, but it's just Kirk. He's so frustrating.
We haven't really spent much time on the Packers. If I can go back to the summer, I wish I would have made some financial investments on them. They hit home runs on everything they've done in the offseason as far as the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. I've seen people call them the Smith brothers. They're not related, but it's just, like you had the Smith brothers in San Francisco, Alden and Justin.
Correct.
Justin Smith. You had the Williams guys in
Pat and Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, the Williams wall. Oh my
man.
God. Those two and Jared Allen. Oh, the glory days. My Vikings fans coming out right now.
Yeah. So you have that pairing there too. The Jair Alexander is
stud.
Absolutely balling. Again, it goes back to what I'm saying. There's always like a random dude that plays himself into like being a top 10, top 5 corner. And Alexander, come December, we might be having those conversations like, yo, is he the best corner in the league right now? We don't know. And they spent a lot of draft capital on that defense, a lot of money on that defense. And did you happen to hear Aaron Rodgers after that last game against Denver?
He said something about scotch.
He said something about, well, this is the cleanest I've ever been. I might not even wash my jersey. He didn't get hit. He didn't get knocked down. He didn't get touched. And look,
the Broncos. I don't know what's going on in Denver. I got to watch the Broncos.
I understand. And that might be the craziest. For me, that's like a top 5 storyline. Like, how does Bradley Chubb and Von Miller not have sacks?
Meanwhile,
just a bet on talent. Like,
Shaq Barrett, they let him go.
Like, yeah, that's right. Just a bet on talent. I would expect, no matter what the scheme is, no matter what the fit is, like,
I don't care if Greg Williams is there.
Von Miller and Bradley Chubb combined should have at least 8 sacks.
I like Derek Wolfe too. He's a nice solid player.
Right. But it's just so concerning if I'm a Broncos fan where, yo, what happened? And Von Miller, yo, we're paying you big money too.
He's getting older too.
I understand. And it's still just a bet on talent, man. Like, those guys should have sacks, right? And for
Green Bay's always had a really good O-line though. Like Bakhtiari, I think he's up there for best left tackle. You want to put him with Tyron Smith, and Trent Williams. I hope he plays football at some point this year because I love watching Trent Williams. But Bakhtiari's up there.
Yeah, Nate Solder. No. So going back to Green Bay, Matt LaFleur wants to push this up-tempo kind of offense, sort of to like go more no huddle. I know Rodgers has played that. I still think Rodgers hasn't hit his ceiling with this offense yet.
Yeah, it hasn't looked great.
It hasn't looked great, and they're 3-0. like someone should have beaten the Packers at this point, because now you look at Green Bay, and again, I believe they played a third place schedule this year. That was one of the biggest reasons with my handicapping of them and why I regret not being higher on them from a financial standpoint. I think this could easily be a team that has a bye week this year.
It's the North is so competitive. Like those
It
teams
is,
get
yeah,
beat up on each other. You know, they do have 2 wins.
But they have 2 wins in that
Yeah.
division. And
Yeah.
I believe one of them was in Chicago.
Right.
So that game should be perceived to be easier coming into. And look, you're always going to
Playing
have.
Chicago in September than compared to December. Yeah, I know they're a cold weather team, but still.
At this very moment, the Packers play somebody. How many quarterbacks are better than Aaron Rodgers, would you say?
They'll be playing this year. Pat Mahomes. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. I think that's the only time that when you step out on the field, and you know, it's the comparison I make to Alex Smith and Kirk Cousins, where it's fine. You like it. You enjoy it. And Daniel Jones might fall into that category too. And Matt Ryan might be in that category. I don't know. You're a Falcons fan. Maybe you could respond to this. When you see a guy like Rodgers or Brady on the other side, or a guy like Pat Mahomes, Phillip Rivers, you're at a disadvantage at the quarterback situation. So I think with Rodgers has just said, like, you know, I'm kept clean. I don't got to wash my jersey, and we finally have a defense. I think that's the most telling soundbite that I've heard this year. After that week 1 game, turns to Michelle Tafoya and he goes, offense didn't look good, but man, we have a defense. And he had that like smile on his face, that arrogant Rodgers smile, and it's very telling, man.
For me, it's the first time since the Super Bowl year, because I don't think everyone remembers when Green Bay won the Super Bowl. Rodgers on this phenomenal run, but that defense was crazy good. This is when B.J. Raji, Charles Woodson,
right.
A.J. Hawk was really good.
And also
Williams had a pick
still,
6 against the Falcons.
They did beat the Falcons.
And Aaron Rodgers had 4 incompletions the whole game. They didn't punt once. I think the only time Atlanta got stopped was on a forced fumble where Greg Jennings got stripped like 35 yards downfield. Like they went to the Georgia Dome. Atlanta was on a bye, and they completely smoked them. Like it was no contest. People were just like, whoa. And then Green Bay, then they played Cutler. Cutler got injured. The Bears, and then they won the Super Bowl. They beat the Eagles when the Eagles had Vic, their wild card. Once I saw that, I was like, oh geez, Rodgers come to Georgia Dome. I don't know if it's gonna end well.
Yeah, you just know.
But that team had a great defense. I think that's the biggest reason why they beat Pittsburgh in that Super Bowl, because that was a really good Pittsburgh team that year. They beat Rex Ryan's Jets. I forget who else they beat, but the fact that it's been this long, because you look at Aaron Rodgers, like he should have one more. He should have at least 1 or 2. I know they botched the Seattle game, which is bad.
The thing with Rodgers, man, and I defend that dude because I think he's
superstar. Come on.
Yeah, I think he's the best quarterback I've ever seen. Now he's not the greatest. The greatest is Brady, and I think one day we should dedicate a segment to best versus greatest, because I think Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen. I think Brady is the greatest, right? And I think it's fair to distinguish a difference between the two. With that being said, Pat Mahomes is closing in on Aaron Rodgers. That's another talking point. Yeah. But going back to Rodgers, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Where I think he should, for how good he is, how great he is, he should have more. But also, 3 straight losses in the playoffs where he doesn't touch the ball after tying or getting a lead in the fourth quarter, right? The Seattle game where they storm back and they get the onside kick too, and then it's like a Jermaine Kearse scores the game-winning touchdown, right? Then you have the Cardinals, Larry Fitzgerald. Well, they do the 2. People forget. I was watching. NFL Network has been doing this top 100 plays thing of all time. Rodgers throws 2 Hail Marys to like Jeff Janis in that game.
Oh my god!
I remember being at the bar.
I
remember. Were you at Catch with Me too?
No, I don't think I was. No,
I remember. I bet the Packers plus 7.5, and I was like, "Yo, Espo." I turned to Espo, and Espo. Me and Espo make like 3 bets a year, and I swear we're like 90% when we agree on them. Shout out to my guy Espo. But he's like, "Man, I just love taking the quarterback if he's getting points, like a guy like Rodgers," and we did that. And I remember when it went to overtime, we sort of bet them on the money line to win outright and with the points. I was like, all right, worst comes to worst, we'll break even because they'll cover the spread, because it was a 7-point line. They don't kick the extra point if you score a touchdown first. So no matter what, we're good there. Man, I go to get a beer and I see Larry Fitzgerald spinning off 2 people and he brings it inside the 5. And I'm like, oh my God, Rodgers didn't get a chance to respond. And that's why I always say, and I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this, if I have a quarterback of a Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Brady, Mahomes, if I make an extreme comeback in the playoffs and I literally score a touchdown with no time left in the fourth quarter, man, with how inconsistent kickers are, I might go for 2.
Don't
I
blame
might
you.
go for 2 as opposed to me kicking the PAT, not knowing if it's gonna go in, and then maybe not having a chance to answer in overtime.
You have to at this point because I think if you trust your offense, why not? I know
That's
it's
what I'm
risky,
saying.
yeah.
I didn't say to do that with Daniel Jones and
Yeah.
Sam Darnold. I'm saying, or even your boy Matt
Yeah.
Ryan, and I love Matt Ryan
Yeah.
too. I'm talking about if you have a quarterback with balls,
Mm-hmm.
I would do that, even if it doesn't work out.
You need a coaching staff for it though. There's
Yeah.
a lot of conservative coaches out there. Yeah. So, but yeah, NFC North. I think going into the season was definitely one of the top divisions, but we didn't think it'd be this good. Like a lot of people thought the AFC North was gonna be really good, maybe NFC South to some extent, but just what the NFC North has done so far. You have 3 pretty established contenders, maybe 2 net. We'll see what happens with Chicago, just the whole Trubisky factor. But they're going to be competitive. They have the best defense in the league. I don't think anyone could dispute that. And Detroit, I think they'll fade into November, but they got talent. You can't dispute that. Detroit, they're going to be a problem, but I just don't trust that coaching staff.